Hey everyone, I'm back. Today, we'll dive into the thrilling events of the manga, starting from chapter 346. A month has passed, and at Beyond's secret base, Jin is astonishing the entire organization as he showcases his ability to control NEN at will. Not only can he control NEN with extreme precision, but he can also freely shape it into any form he desires and even alter its trajectory at will. This leaves everyone in awe, as creating just a small NEN mote on a fingertip is already an immense challenge. But that's not how Jin continues to humble his teammates, effortlessly outclassing them in various games, making them feel completely outmatched. Take this guy with glasses. For example, he confidently challenged Jin to an ancient language word game only, to get completely wrecked. This was especially shocking to the others, since that man is actually a professor at the prestigious Bavert University. But Jin, he wasn't fazed in the slightest. He's simply a genius who enjoys learning whatever interests him, and just naturally happens to be better than everyone else. Meanwhile, Pariston returns with news the Hunter exam has concluded, and all of Beyond's assassins have been eliminated. Jin, unsurprised, casually asks Pariston to confirm whether those lackeys were taken out during the proficiency test. And sure enough, they were. This year's Hunter exam wasn't as easy to bypass as Pariston had hoped. He was actually quite surprised at how thoroughly the association had prepared this time, refining their evaluation criteria to a whole new level. It seemed that whoever had taken his spot in the hierarchy was a truly formidable individual. Just then, someone cut Pariston off mid-sentence and chimed in. I heard that the guy could read minds. Oh, by the way, you know Mueller, right? Pariston asked Jing. Yeah, I know him. Jing replied, you're back already. The woman in the kimono asked, surprised. Mueller said there was no need to stick around and wait for the results. He already knew he'd failed. Even those who passed the lie detector test, himself included, were disqualified because of that guy. He wouldn't be surprised if that guy even knew about Beyond's secret escape plan. Once they reached the Dark Continent, ha ha ha, what's there to worry about? It's not like we ever had a plan to begin with, Pariston joked. The moment we reach the Dark Continent, Beyond will break free with his own strength and come find us. Simple as that. Mueller replied, at least that way, things are still somewhat decent. They won't have to ambush them, which would just lead to unnecessary conflicts too soon. But while we're at it, he also questioned Jing about whether he was siding with the Hunter Association. Jing simply responded, there must be some misunderstanding. Because if they were truly free to do whatever they wanted on this expedition, then he would naturally lean toward Beyond rather than the association. He fully understood why the V5 were being extremely cautious about such dangerous risks. That was precisely why he decided to join Beyond's group. Since there was no need to go through the cumbersome procedures of the United Nations here, it didn't really matter if he never made it back. He also emphasized that the key difference between him and Beyond was that Beyond believed the journey would continue until they discovered the ultimate treasure of the Dark Continent. However, if Beyond truly considered this an expedition of complete freedom, then he'd be more than willing to lend a hand. However, Jin couldn't afford to ignore Pariston, as that man was using his twisted sense of affection to stir up chaos. Jin's goal on this expedition was clear: assist Beyond in the exploration while keeping Pariston in check. But would Morel be willing to accept that? In response to Jin's question, he flat out refused. The atmosphere was tense, so those around tried to ease the situation and vouch for Jing. I don't get it. What the hell is going on here? Since when did he become your friend? Weren't you all against him before? One member began to explain. That's true. Our first meeting was a complete disaster, and honestly, I still don't like the guy. But give him a few days, and you'll understand why he's exactly the person we need. Another one of Mueller's subordinates spoke up, stating that he couldn't afford to wait. According to their group, Beyond Netro was the true leader, and no one cared who held the second-in-command position. Focusing on that would only disrupt the chain of command within the organization. Now, either Pariston or Jing had to leave. Actually, there are 3 choices, Jing replied. No, there are 4. Pariston chimed in. What? The subordinate reacted in shock. It's not often that I agree with Jing. Honestly, I wish you guys would stop interfering with our little game. The third option: leave this place. Or die. Pariston concluded. In chapter 347, in response to the 2 options proposed by Jing and Pariston, Mueller's subordinates decided to activate NEN to draw their guns and eliminate both of them. The room instantly turned into a battlefield as bullets rained toward Jing and Pariston. Both quickly dodged and retreated toward one of the base's corridors. The sudden attack shocked all the organization's members, realizing the intent to eliminate Jing and Pariston. What the hell is happening? Stop right now. Are you seriously trying to kill them? Step aside. This has nothing to do with you. Seal all exits, Mueller ordered his subordinates. The attackers advanced toward the underground bunker. That will be a good spot to corner them. But be careful, Mueller warned. A bastard who's always wearing a suit and a rookie. He never shuts up, and I've been fed up with it from the start. This is the perfect chance to get rid of both of you. This guy, is he really this hot-headed? A sudden ambush. Just like that, Ging said. Aren't you just as crazy as he is? Pariston teased Ging. That's just part of what I've done in my life. Hey, shut your mouth, Ging replied. Do you have to be so cold? I literally just took your side. Pariston shot back. But you were the one who provoked him in the first place. You bastard, Ging retorted, annoyed. Either way, they're not going to hold back. Should we fight back? Pariston asked Ging. Fine, but don't overdo it. Ging figured they were radiation-type NEN users combined with materialized guns, so dealing with them wouldn't be too hard. Taking the chance, Pariston asked Ging if he could see his abilities in action. Sure, no problem. Ging answered confidently. Ging began focusing his NEN into his fists, then unleashed a barrage of punches onto the ground at incredible speed. These punches traveled underground in the form of shockwaves, homing in on their targets. Upon witnessing this ability, Pariston immediately thought of Leorio's technique from before. At that moment, Muller's subordinates suddenly noticed strange circular patterns emerging from beneath their feet. Ging's NEN-infused punches had reached their location, bursting up at blinding speed before they could react. With just a few simple punches, Ging effortlessly took down 3 of Muller's men. At this moment, Pariston wondered if Ging's NEN ability allowed him to copy others' techniques. But according to Ging, that wasn't the case. In fact, it wasn't anything special at all. If it was an offensive technique, all he needed was to take a direct hit, and that alone was enough for him to replicate it. It seems like a natural talent, Ging guessed. Elsewhere, down another corridor in the underground base, 2 more of Muller's subordinates noticed the eerie silence. They weren't sure if the other 3 had been taken out or not, and they hesitated, unsure whether to proceed forward or prepare for an ambush. On the other side of the wall, Ging was also analyzing the terrain. He mentioned that Leorio wanted to become a doctor, so his ability was likely developed through training and monitoring heartbeats and pulses. He must have refined his technique, this way substituting sound waves by channeling his NEN into the terrain's surface. And since this method didn't produce detectable waves, even NEN wouldn't be able to pick it up. There are 2 more behind this wall. I see, Pariston whispered. Using NEN-generated sound waves, Ging pinpointed the exact location of the 2 subordinates. If direct contact with the body is impossible, then the only option is to destroy the tumor and blood clots externally by releasing a controlled amount of NEN through the terrain's surface. With this, Ging sent the last 2 subordinates into unconsciousness. Looks like those were the only 2 left, Ging remarked. Guess they've given up. Pariston chimed in. Of course not, Ging replied. Right now, they probably think their mission is complete. Isn't that right? He muttered to himself. Huh, what do you mean? Pariston asked, puzzled. At this moment, Ging spoke bluntly to him. Wasn't their mission to put on this little play in front of me? You do realize how obvious this setup looks, don't you? Sure, there were some pretty serious flaws in the act, but the biggest giveaway was that the ponytailed guy never proposed kicking both of us out of the organization. If he had actually said that, I might have even agreed. Honestly, I just went along with it because I felt bad for them having to act out such a lousy scene all on their own. Next time, put in a little more effort. That is, if you really want to see what my abilities are truly like. Pariston was probably fuming at this point. In case you're still wondering, Mueller was the one who said he wanted to eliminate both Ging and Pariston, but the ponytailed guy only mentioned a plan to get rid of one of them. That was the flaw in their little staged act. Back in the upper room, Mueller finally realized the needle hidden in the haystack had been exposed, and here he thought his acting skills weren't half bad. Ging, of course, took the chance to mock him. For real, your self-awareness is that bad. The way you deliver your lines is so flat, like I have always hated the way you talk. Like this. Now I really want to kill you, Mueller snapped. However, Ging was genuinely concerned about Mueller's subordinates, because they wouldn't be able to survive in the Dark Continent. At best, they could only serve as backup options. For Mueller, that wasn't a problem, since from the very beginning, they had already been designated as backup options. Their mission was simply to scout and provide cannon fodder. They also supplied other firearms, such as sniper rifles. All matters related to gunfire would be handled by this guy. A symbiotic weapon control source, it had been materialized alongside heavy firepower, and he was also equipped with ammunition created from radiation-based NEN. All the damage from this weapon was significantly stronger than a regular attack. So, does it provide other soldiers with NEN-created weapons as well? Ging wondered. Of course, it has proven that letting them use NEN bullets is much more effective in mid-range group battles. We deployed a reconnaissance team of 11 people, including this guy, along with a scout unit codenamed Stonewall, a legendary squad with a record of 0 casualties during the Lubo Civil War, Mueller shared. That's quite impressive. What's your name? Ging asked. My comrades call me Golem. No further questions. Golem responded. Mueller said that he had always been like this since he met him about 3 years ago. He doesn't recognize anyone by their voice or face. I guess so. It seems like he doesn't enjoy being talked to. So, you're the one in charge of managing the soldiers. Mueller, right. Do you think you can convince the others to accept my money? Ging asked. I'm going to be honest with you, Mueller said. When I heard that you were going to be number 2, I didn't really have a problem with it until you mentioned money. Do you know that soldiers like us place more value on trust in our comrades than anything else? So when you say you'll pay us for our services, it doesn't sit well with me at all. Throwing money around so easily like that makes me uncomfortable. It's like a book on a shelf or a remote on a coffee table. They're just lifeless objects. You can't change everything that way. I've heard others say they wanted to quit as soon as they learned how you operate. And that really pissed me off from the start. If you have something to say it now. Actually, I have nothing to refute. But I also have no complaints. I can't say anything other than I'm sorry. I apologize for causing a misunderstanding. But right now, there are already a lot of people who have accepted my offer. So I can't turn back anymore. Is there any way we can resolve this by donating the money to the Novel Fund? Ging earnestly asked Mueller. The Novel Charity Fund, also known as the Home of the Wounded Soldiers, is a charitable fund that provides financial, psychological, occupational, educational, and child care support. This charity is dedicated to the surviving family members of mercenaries who have fallen in battle. This charity was founded by a warrior named Novel, who provided financial support to those at the end of their rope, including the children of fallen soldiers, refugees, and the impoverished. Over time, more and more people contributed to his personal account. The Novel Fund operates under a special trust system known as the 3-generation trust, which can only be entrusted to those deemed reliable. Are you serious? If you create an account like that, it will be under my command. You know that, right? Mueller questioned Ging. Well, didn't you say that you wouldn't accept money so easily? This money could be considered as the general management funds for that account, so there won't be any bad rumors surrounding it. I really don't understand why do you want us to accept your money so badly. What exactly is your true purpose? Mueller started to get angry. Actually, this isn't the first time I've found myself in a situation where I question why I said something in the first place. But this time, it's different. That's why I've caused trouble for you all. The biggest reason for this is, I know that no one would be greedy or even pay attention to that money. At least, that's what I thought. So if they accept that money, it means they've truly started to accept me, and I think that makes me happy. Because there are strange fools like that in this world. Like me, I've been longing for this expedition for a very long time, but there have always been people interfering and stopping it, and that made me feel sad. But looking back, Beyond truly accepted this challenge a long time ago, and so, I ended up coming here before I even had time to process my emotions. I guess, I just wanted to let off some steam. The first thing I told everyone when I got here was, let me be part of this. That really surprised me. I don't even remember why I started talking about money anymore. How did things play out, Marger? Mueller asked the mushroom-headed man about what Ging had said. Well, I remember that I was the one who asked him first. Everything started when he and Periston began arguing. My first impression of him was that he seemed like someone who would always cause trouble, which made me think he was a dangerous troublemaker. But after witnessing their disagreement about the former chairman and Jin's personal feelings toward this expedition, I started to understand him more. I also made a mistake in assuming he was simply trying to manipulate us with money. Marion and I were planning to take control of the situation by force, but logically speaking, we decided to keep him around, because he actually makes reasonable decisions. That's all. Marger replied. I see, I get it now. And you decided to settle everything with money. Seriously, Mueller asked Ging. I just wanted to act cool for a bit. I really didn't think money would be such a big deal. Periston and I have a rather complicated history, but I never intended to cause trouble for anyone. I'm genuinely serious about competing for the number 2 spot to prevent any of his schemes, and I truly want to help Beyond make this expedition happen. Please trust me. The money may be coming from me, but think of it as a way to gain an advantage in all of this. Whether you accept it or not is entirely up to you. Ging expressed, why didn't you just say that from the start? If you had, everything would have been smooth from the beginning. Gollum suddenly questioned Ging. Mueller stepped in to defend Ging. The reason I didn't want to pressure him at first was because I didn't want to have this kind of awkward, emotional conversation. Huh, what do you mean? Gollum asked, confused. Forget it. All right, I'll explain things to the others. That money will be donated to the Novel Charity Fund. Let me make one thing clear. You may be number 2, but I'm the one leading the soldiers in battle. Got it, Mueller stated. Of course, Ging replied. One more thing, if you open a 3rd-generation trust account, you'll immediately become part of my team. On the battlefield, my orders are absolute. Your only response should be yes, sir. Got it, yes, sir, Ging answered. If you've agreed to this, then so have we. As for the others, as long as Periston acknowledges you as number 2, they will too. At that moment, Periston returned. He asked if everything had been settled. The farce had failed, and everyone had agreed to take the money. He would proceed with sending the list of members right away. Congratulations on securing the position. Number 2. Pariston sneered at Jin. It's just a title. As always, if you want it, go ahead and take the authority. Jin shot back. I'll have to decline. I'd rather see how far you can go. Pariston replied. Is that so? In that case, I won't be holding back. Without hesitation, Jin accepted his provocation. To better understand the 3-generation account system, it consists of 3 tiers. Parent account. This account manages the deposits from subsidiary accounts. All members can collectively share and oversee information regarding withdrawals and payments across all accounts. Child account. This account manages one or multiple grandchild accounts. Grandchild accounts cannot refuse deposit orders from child accounts, following the same operational principles. Grandchild account. This account is solely used for making deposits. All funds flow directly into the parent account. It features a specially designed debit card that can be used for payments at affiliated stores, including online transactions, with no spending limits. And that wraps up chapters 346 and 347. Jin has secured the No. 2 position, but can he really take control of the situation? Or will Pariston continue pulling the strings from behind the scenes? What do you think about these developments? Is Jin the right person to go up against Pariston? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to hit like if you found this video awesome, and subscribe so you won't miss the next recap. I'll be back with more updates, so stay tuned to see what happens next. See you in the next video.